Hi everyone, it's Lisa and welcome to Lisa's Stamp Studio. I'm continuing my series on the Stampin' blends, and today I'm going to talk to you about shading. We're going to be using this stamp set, Santa's Sleigh, and primarily this sleigh image. Just before the video, I had pre-stamped the sleigh on thick Whisper white cardstock, and I used Memento ink. This is the ink you're going to want to use when you're using the Stampin' blend so that you don't have bleeding. And the thick Whisper white cardstock is the perfect surface to stamp on because it's thicker than our regular white cardstock and allow you actually to blend better. Make sure your work surface is protected to protect it from any staining that will bleed through the paper, and that's all normal with the blend process. I am actually going to start with the lightest of the crumb cakes, and they are labeled on the barrel. You'll see that there is a fine tip end and there is a brush end, very much like the Stampin' Right markers. I'm going to use the brush end and I'm going to fill in this image. Now, I'm a flicker. I've been taking some alcohol marker classes and I find that I can control the color going on by flicking. But when the area is small like this, you're not going to be able to do too much of that. All right, so I've got my base color down. I'm going to cap that. You'll hear that it snaps, which is just a great feature of these. You don't have to worry about there being any air to the inside of the alcohol. It'll keep them nice and moist. And then this is the dark shade for the crumb cake. And this one, actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add color along the outside edge. So I'm going to do a little bit along each of these lines just by making a line of color here. You can see it starting to come together. I'm going to take this next light shade again, and this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to blend these, but instead of using the brush tip, I'm actually going to switch to the fine tip. You're going to find that this is a lot more sturdy than the other end, which is the brush, but in these small areas especially, it's going to allow me to come in here and circle right over the dark and the light. And you want to make sure that you get that line to disappear. We don't want that hard line there, so we want to create that shading, that blending. Lighter areas and dark areas are fine. Okay, so I'm going to come back over this one more time, and this time I think I'm actually going to use the fine point end so I can get in here a little bit better. I'm going to cross the bottom. And then the same thing here. Do you see it's starting to come together? There's creating a little bit more definition here. I'm actually using the light pumpkin pie. And again, I'm using the fine tip point on this one. So I'm going to pull that cap off. Mine are brand new, so they're nice and tight. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and do some shading. And I'm actually going to use tiny flick marks. I have found this works really, really well, because if I lay down a line, it's too hard. So the little tiny flick marks are going to provide just a little bit of color. And I'm concentrating mostly towards the bottom and here. And I'm going to do the same thing here. Now I'm going to come back in one more time with my light shade. And I'm just going to run right over these with that fine tip just to make sure that we've got a nice blend here. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. As far as the outside is concerned, I'm actually going to color that in using the bronze marker. And I'm going to use the brush tip for this. Of course, the fine tip would work as well. I'll actually show you both. So it's got a really nice point on it, and you want to preserve that. So you want to make sure that you don't press too hard. The ink with these flows so nicely. I'm actually going to switch so that you can see how the other end works just as well. And I actually don't even see a difference depending on which end that you're using. I'm doing small circular motions. Make sure you hang with me. I've got a finished card to show you. All right, so you get the idea, right? All right, we're going to go ahead and recap this. And then I actually took Wink of Stella, and once it was dry, I added Wink of Stella to the top of my image, just in the wood areas, just to give it a little bit of shimmer to finish off my card. I was worried that the Wink of Stella wouldn't work well over this because there's an alcohol base already in here, but boy, does it work great. Here is my finished card with that exact same shading technique. And you can see on my card here, I also did the tree. These Stampin' Blends are so much fun. I'm going to encourage you to give them a try. Thanks so much for stopping by today, everyone. I look forward to seeing you next time. Have a great day.